Oh, certain phrases just won't work when we have robotic overlords. Right? Like, I think, well, it's more like certain phrases will get new connotations. So like, giving someone the cold shoulder. Like, they're not gonna understand what that means. They're cold all over. They're inhuman. And they rule us with an iron fist. But what I do think, like, I mean, if you were a robotic overlord, how would you keep track of people? No, you're not actually supposed to answer that. That's rhetorical. The answer is, you make like robots that kind of look like people and like are a little warm to touch or whatever, and like don't have like the red beaming eyes, and you send them to spy. So like cold shoulder will now become like, oh, did she give you the cold shoulder? Yes. But the subtext is she a robot? And your answer is, yes, we need to kill her now. Oh, I want more religious diversity in schools. And you might think to yourself, Ian, we have so much religious diversity, you know? Like, we have that Native American class, and there's a bunch of classes on, like, Roman mythology, but we don't really treat that as a religion. It's more like a history lesson, where you're like, oh, Zeus turned into a goose and raped that girl, ha ha ha. That's a true, like, mythological story. I'm a classics minor. What I want is Norse mythology. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but the creation of like the world by Norse mythology is something like this. Fire and ice are human beings and they exist and nothing else. And then they fuck each other to death and the world is created. And their names are like Skila and Skruva. That's awesome. And then, like, if you're like a really good Norse person, you pillage towns and you go fight. And then when you die, you go to heaven, which is pillaging towns and fighting a lot. But here's the weird thing. There's a thing called Ragnarok at the end. And Ragnarok is like our version of the apocalypse or the rapture. But what happens in the rapture? People get to go to heaven, sinners burn in hell. But like there's a select few, like maybe one of us out of this group, because you're listening to me do comedy, who gets to go to heaven and everything's great for you, and you get to sit on a cloud with wings or whatever, and everything forever is wonderful. Ragnarok shows up, and you are in Valhalla, which is the place where you fight and drink, and it's like heaven. And guess what happens in Ragnarok? A giant serpent eats everyone and you're dead forever. And then a new world is created, but you don't get to go there, you're just dead. I think that should be taught in our schools. How awesome would it be if a little kid like was running around, stubbing his toe, going, Thor, damn it! Oh, no one knows who Thor is, I'm sorry. I should have provided more background. We'll just move on. Oh, before I came here, I told my friends, I was like, oh, I'm kind of nervous about doing this, and this is going to be strange, and people are going to stare at me, and someone's going to film me. That happened to be true. And they were like, oh, you know, maybe it'll get better after time. And then someone piped up, you know, Robin Williams still throws up every time he has to do a live performance. Oh, thanks. He's been doing comedy for like 70 years. And he still freaks the fuck out. Wonderful. I'll take that to my grave. Ooh, okay. Here's a weird thing. If you have an even number of wheels on whatever vehicle you drive or get around on, you're cool. Good for you. Like, you know, a skateboard, 4 wheels, a car, 4 wheels, bicycle, 2 wheels. You're awesome. Good job. If you have an odd number of wheels, like a tricycle or a unicycle, it's more like, let's marathon Star Trek. I feel like I've become closer with gay men. And here's why. So, I mean, I always imagine that like there must be a situation that arises where a gay man is like in Kentucky or something, and like 3 rednecks come up to him and are like, "Hey, are you straight?" And the gay man, as I would if I were gay, goes, "Yes, yes I am." And that just smooths things over. Like, it just makes things easier. And I understand that. And here's why I feel I can relate to that. If you've ever been on the internet and said something that was polite or didn't involve the words fag or queer or something like that, someone else called you fag or queer. And you can go like, "No, I'm straight," and they can go like, "You're a pussy faggot," and you can be like, "Well, I don't think those words together make sense, and I'm pretty sure I'm straight," and they can be like, "Winking face fag," and then sign off. And you're just stuck with that. But what I like to do now is I say something polite like, "How are you doing?" And they go, "Oh, fuck you, fag." And I go like, "I am gay, and let me describe my last sexual experience to you in detail." And so I just go on and on about the feel of cock and balls, and just how much I love it, and like all the different positions I've tried, and they sign off real quick. And so in that way, I feel like me and gay men can maybe get along a little bit better.